right. Yeah, we are ready at staff level.
All right, call to order Pontiac Zoning Board of Appeals, September the 18th, 2023 at
6:38 p.m.
6:38 p.m.
Yep.
Definitely do that now. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Anderson?
Got your thing on.
Commissioner Bueno?
Here.
Commissioner Kirkendall?
Here.
Commissioner McClellan?
Here.
Commissioner Burke?
Here.
Commissioner Harris Ford?
Present. Any official communications?
The only official communications is we had our chair, Bavakwa, tonight, and Commissioner May that expressed that they wouldn't be here if they could be excused.
Okay. Can I get the minutes review from August the 21st, 2023?
So approved.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Anderson? Yes. Commissioner Kirkendall?
Vice Chair, yes.
Commissioner Burke?
Yes.
Commissioner Harris Ford?
Yes.
Commissioner McClellan?
Yes.
Commissioner Bueno?
Yes.
Okay.
Motion passes 6-0.
Oh, yes. Okay, I would like to make a motion to bring back case ZBA 23-015. Can I get the facts and findings from the staff, please?
Absolutely. So just to recap, this was a variance ZBA 23-015, applicant Josh Holdsworth, 1185 North Perry. They were requesting 3 variances in the front yard for outdoor storage, fence greater in height than 3 feet, and a privacy fence. This is the location along North Perry Street. And this, again, is where it's located in the zoning district between Madison, Arlene, and Perry. I have some background information, but really I want to get to some of the information that has changed since the last meeting. So the applicant has applied for a preliminary site plan to move their operations to 951 Vanguard Drive, which is on the west end of the city off of Telegraph. With prospective approvals, it may take about 12 to 24 months to build the site and move those operations to that location. The applicant is now, in conversations with them, is requesting the variance for outside storage for a period of 2 years instead of a permanent variance. However, the applicant wishes to request the fence variances as permanent variances based on their investment that they're to create, that they're kept beyond 2 years if they or a future property owner would want to keep them. Additionally, the applicant has provided an updated property survey and an updated site plan for location of the outside storage. While the property line issue that was presented at the last ZBA meeting may still exist with the adjacent property owner, the contested area is not part of any of 3 of these variance requests. They have amended the site plan that, from staff's perspective, there is no doubt that the ZBA can take action tonight with this and not be part of what's that contested area. Now, what the applicant did provide is an ALTA survey that is sealed and stamped and really should be official, and we will work, while we just received that last week, we'll be working with the county to see if they need to make any adjustments to the tax mapping just to reflect those lines better. Again, the property lines are not changing, but just to reflect them better. So I just wanted to identify the proper ALTA survey. This may or may not have been in your packet, but the yellow buildings are the 2 buildings on the site, and this is where J&J Industrial Operations take place. The next slide will show it, but this is where their outside storage is currently located. If you, sure. You don't. We've got it digitally. You can hand it out to them. But the area in question was adjacent to the car wash, which is in the upper right up here. And so what this is essentially showing is that this access and ingress and egress is on the site. Now, again, this is just to determine that there's not a property line issue with this case. So the next slide I have up here is Perry is down here on the bottom right. This is Arlene, and this is Madison. This was provided by the applicant. The red line here is the proposed fence. The yellow area is amended from last month, but it's the outside storage area. Now, I did talk to the applicant about a couple things. I did talk to them about carrying this fence a little farther down to block from Arlene. And I did talk about the possibility of closing this fence in, based on their operations and based on their needs. And with what they store, the applicant can speak to this a little further. They usually needs trucks and cranes to pick this stuff up. Having this completely enclosed within a fence is logistically challenging for them. And I can let the applicant speak to that a little more, but their request tonight does not close that off. So these, again, are just some images looking at the site. I know those shipping containers, if they haven't gone away, will be going away. The bottom picture is from Perry. Really, you're reviewing the 7 standards of approval. I have gone through this before. This is not really changing for the 3 analysis for the 3 variances. Staff does not provide a recommendation, but I do have 3 motions for your pleasure. The only other order of business with this is that we had the public hearing last month. We did not advertise another public hearing. We're not required to. And so, the applicant's here, and you definitely can speak to them. But we did not advertise this public hearing to our typical procedures. So. That is
Okay.
it.
Okay. If the applicant is here, could you step to the podium, give your name and your address, please?
Josh Holdsworth, 1185 North Perry.
Okay, is there anything that you want to elaborate on, Mr. Holdsworth?
No, I think everything's been covered.
Okay. So I will turn to my board. I will start with you, Mr. Anderson.
So, let me ask staff, this will be, not involving the fence dispute that we had, right?
Correct.
Correct.
Okay, that's all I want to know.
Mr.
No, I'm good, based on what I've read and what's been explained.
Mr. Brown?
Yes, Mark, I have a question. If you can go back to the site plan right there. The red line with the privacy fence, is that beyond the property line? It looks like it's in the right of way?
If you can turn on the mic and just ask that again.
Yeah, just push it, yeah.
So the question I think you had is it in the right of way? We will ensure, and I think we can work with the property owner to ensure that this fence is on the property and not in the right of way, even though it may be depicted on this map that it is. We would not allow.
Yeah, just to clarify that, this is not an actual 2-scale drawing of the fence. This was just some markings on the site plan to show the approximate location. We would make sure that we'd have a permit and everything would be approved before the install.
Okay. And then the other question for staff was, in our last meeting, there was items discussed that I don't know if it should be part of the motion for their approval, that the, I guess maybe the map takes care of it, that the outside storage is going to be along Madison Street. It's not going to be any taller than 6 feet because of the privacy is 6 feet, and the privacy fence was black and had slots and all that stuff in it to match. There's nothing's mentioned here in the motion, so I didn't know if that had to be addressed or if it's part of something else.
That's a good question. What I would say is the fence is 6 feet, that screening is part of their application. But if you want to require that outside storage be restricted to 6 feet, you can make that as a condition of your motion this evening.
I'm only bringing that up because it's approval for the front yard, and this particular site has 3 front yards, so
Yep.
just so it's pinned down. I didn't know if, because you had the map, that that's what we're approving right up there, that just listed there, but that's all I have.
And one other thing, if you wanted to add the location that the applicant has provided, in the language of your motion, that could also be incorporated.
No, I have no comment.
I just want to, the items that would be stored there, that's going to be machinery, correct? So you're going to have larger items stored there, most likely taller than 6 feet, is that safe to say?
No, I would say that's incorrect.
Okay, so
It's, it's not actual machinery as like manufacturing machinery. It's mostly we have steel I-beams that are 60 feet long that are only 2 feet tall. We have steel plates that are 8 by 20 foot that are just hard to get in and out of the building, so we store those outside. We have containers full of wood that, we use to stack the machines on, but there won't be any machines in the outside storage.
all right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, well, I have no questions, so I move to the board to make a motion.
I'll move to make a motion for the first item for outside storage to approve the request for a 12 by 250 square foot area of outside storage. Outside storage would be along Madison Street, no taller than 6 feet.
Support.
That's Reno and
McClellan.
McClellan, thank you.
Okay, for the second motion, I move to approve the request.
We have to,
We gotta do them all at one time, or you want them to do them all at,
These are 3 different variance requests, so
Okay,
we
one-
would need 3 different votes.
okay. Okay, thank you. So can I get a roll call on that first one, please?
Commissioner Harris Ford,
Yes.
Commissioner Burke,
Yes,
Commissioner McClellan,
yes.
Vice Chair Kirkendall,
Yes.
Commissioner Bueno,
Yes,
Commissioner Anderson.
Motion approved?
Yes.
second item is a 6-foot front yard fence. Question for staff, is this for the whole site or just Madison and the side street?
This is really for where they're locating it on the application.
So that is.
Okay.
Okay.
I move to approve the request for a 6-foot tall front yard fence in the front yard of 1185 North Perry along Madison for the staff report.
Second. Oh, sorry. I take that back. I can't second. I take that back. I can't second.
Support.
Okay.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Anderson,
Yes.
Commissioner Harris Ford,
Yes.
Commissioner Bueno,
Yes,
Commissioner Burke,
yes.
Vice Chair Kirkendall,
Yes.
Commissioner McClellan.
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0.
the last item is the front yard privacy fence. I move to approve the request for a privacy fence along the front yard along Madison and Adelaide, I believe,
I think that's adequate.
just the side street.
Arlene.
Arlene.
Arlene, is to be black in color, 6 foot tall, and with slats, similar to the fence next door.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Bueno,
Yes,
Commissioner McClellan,
Yes.
Commissioner Burke,
Yes.
Commissioner Harris Ford,
Yes.
Vice Chair Kirkendall,
Yes.
Commissioner Anderson. Passes 6-0.
Good luck to you. All righty. You're welcome. You ready? Next case, please.
So before I get started, I just want to do a few quick introductions. She's not at most of our ZBA meetings, but I do want to, we never got a chance to introduce Morgan McAtammy, who's at the end here, just in case there's any legal questions on tonight's proceedings. I would like to also introduce Ana Reyes, who's in the back corner here. So this next case, we have a Spanish-speaking applicant. I will be going a little slower and really giving Ana an opportunity at the mic to translate into Spanish. And so this is the first time for me, but I just ask as we go through this, let's just go slowly so we can make sure that everything is properly communicated for the applicant. So, and Ana, I can invite you up to the microphone here and to help me out. All right. So this case is ZBA 23019.
Este caso es. I'm gonna read my notes.
The
El caso es número CBA 23015.
The applicant is Francisco Ibarra.
El aplicante es Francisco Ibarra.
The address is 133 West Chamberlain.
La dirección es 133
Yeah.
West Chamberlain.
There are two variance requests this evening.
Y hay dos diferentes variaciones que estamos sugiriendo y pidiendo en esta tarde.
One is for a total accessory structure size of 874 square feet.
Una de ellas es con medida de 875
And the other one is a side yard setback of 2 feet for that same structure.
y el otro es de 200 con la misma estructura.
Okay. This is a site plan of 133 Chamberlain. While it is a typical lot size at 40 by 100, you can tell that there are some funky nodes just with the old section line that transfers through the site. So it is roughly 40 by 100. The principal building is out front, and then there's some rear space in the back where they have constructed. Oh, lo siento.
Okay, let's.
This is a, while it is a typical site, it's unique in its,
Esto es un lugar típico, al igual es único.
it's unique in its configuration of the lot lines.
Único en la configuración de los tamaños de las dimensiones.
Okay. This is a zoning map of the subject area, including the R1 zoning district and the surrounding, and that says 1185 North Perry, it should say 133 Chamberlain, but this is the zoning map of the area and surrounding properties.
Este es el mapa de la área y el distrito. Debe de decir 133, pero en este caso dice 1185 Norte Perry.
And this is another viewpoint of the property in relation to St. Damian's Church and some of their former property on the south end of the site.
Este es otro ángulo de la propiedad desde una iglesia cercana que hay ahí.
Here is a sketch plan and showing the street is down here.
Esto es también un plan que nos enseña la dirección de aquí abajo.
There is a carport that has recently been added on the west side.
Es un lugar de donde van a guardar los autos que está aquí a la izquierda.
And then this is the main building, principal building, main house.
Y esta es la casa principal, el edificio principal.
But the rear accessory structure is where the two variances are required.
Atrás, en la parte de atrás de la propiedad, es donde donde estamos pidiendo las varianzas.
One is for size, and the other is for this 2-foot setback on the eastern border, right here.
Uno es para el tamaño y el otro es para el retroceso de la propiedad.
And one additional thing, it meets the setback requirements up here. And because of those unique lot lines, it's actually more than 5 feet away from the property over here. So those do not need any action by this board.
De acuerdo a las dimensiones de la propiedad, deben ser de 5 pies desde las líneas de propiedad que no estaremos discutiendo en esta junta.
This is a photo of the site taken last week, just showing it. It has been constructed without a permit, but still needs some items to be finished.
Esto es una foto de la construcción que tomó lugar sin permiso, que tomamos hace días atrás, pero que ha parado la construcción hasta que se ha aprobado el caso.
This picture is showing from Chamberlain is showing the carport, but then you can see the accessory structure towards the rear underneath the carport.
Esta es la otra estructura que estamos modificando, que es donde estacionarán los vehículos y los autos aquí, que está al lado de la casa.
And I have one last photo just showing the side of the structure where the 2-foot setback is. They would normally need 3 feet.
Y aquí está la foto del lado donde normalmente tuvieran que ser de 3 pies de la línea de la propiedad. Y en este caso está, how many feet?
3 feet is required. This would be 2 feet.
3 pies está requerido y esto está a 2 pies.
Some background information. Again, the applicant was cited earlier this year for construction without a permit. A stop work order was placed.
¿Alguna información de la situación de la construcción que había estado tomando lugar sin tener permisos, pero que ha parado para conseguir permisos antes de continuar?
The homeowner applicant is requesting these 2 variances that are outside of the zoning code regulations.
El aplicante está pidiendo estas 2 variaciones que están fuera de los códigos de las regulaciones.
If approved, the applicant would proceed to the building permit process.
Y si aprobado, el aplicante continuará con permisos de construcción y procederá con lo planeado.
And the property is the only single-family dwelling house on this side of the street. Adjacent property to the west is, as we mentioned, is St. Damian's.
En esta propiedad es una propiedad de solamente una familia de vivienda y cercano a la propiedad está una escuela que es de St. Damian's.
So there are 7 standards of approval for a dimensional variance.
Hay 7 reglas para esta clase de dimensión de variance.
If there's any questions about this, please let me know.
Y si hay preguntas acerca de esto, favor de
Yeah.
llamar mi atención.
I do have some analysis on this.
Tengo algunos análisis en esto.
While there are unique property lines, there is not a unique circumstance in place that the applicant could not they could conform with the zoning regulations for a reasonable use.
Aunque esta propiedad es única y las situaciones únicas, no hay circunstancias únicas en el lugar en la cual el aplicante esté conforme a las regulaciones y a los usos razonables.
As I mentioned, the lot size is typical.
Como mencioné, el tamaño de la propiedad es típico.
And the variance request is really self-created here in that that it really is their request to go above and beyond. There's nothing forcing them to, that they're unable to follow the standards.
Esta variación es creada por sí mismo y no hay nada que, aparte de seguir las reglas, que continuemos hacia adelante.
And lastly, with the absence of adjacent residential dwelling units, this should not be injurious to neighboring property owners, but does give this applicant a right others would not have.
De acuerdo a lo que se ha aprobado en cuanto a la unidad, esto aparte de el dueño de la propiedad, le da al aplicante el derecho de tener esta estructura ahí.
So again, as a matter of practice, staff only provides analysis and not a recommendation on variances.
Como dicho antes, no solo proveemos análisis y no recomendaciones en cuanto a las variaciones.
And I have the motions before you this evening. So that is my staff report, and I'll take any questions you may have.
Estas son las mociones que tenemos hoy y si tienen alguna pregunta pueden hacerlas.
Gracias, Ana.
Okay, thank you, Mark, for that. If the applicant is here, would you come to the podium, please?
Si el aplicante está aquí, por favor, pudiera venir
And state your name and address.
y diga su nombre y dirección.
Mi nombre es Francisco Ibarra y mi dirección es 133 Chamberlain Street.
My name is Francisco Ibarra and my address is 133 Chamberlain Street.
Would you like to add anything?
¿Le gustaría añadir algo más?
No, pues nomás quiero que si me dejan terminarlo.
He would just like permission to finish the project he started.
Okay, thank you for that.
Gracias.
All right, I'll turn to the board.
I have a question. What is the difference between this being a pavilion and a gazebo? A gazebo is usually open, and this has some closures, walls. What?
¿Cuál es la diferencia entre un gazebo y un pabellón?
So the applicant really requested a gazebo, but from staff's perspective, there's not any change in regulations between a gazebo and a pavilion. We really do consider it a pavilion, and just based on its design. So
So it's designed like a gazebo.
it's designed. I mean, this is a pavilion.
walls.
If I could show you the. I mean, it's really a pavilion with only the left side being enclosed. And Anna, if you could ask, I believe the remaining sections will be open, like with air.
¿El resto de la estructura lo va a dejar así abierto? ¿O así como está ahora?
Así como está ahí, así va a quedar.
Solo que va a terminar la parte de
Sí,
afuera.
tengo roofing y le voy a poner lámina, es menos arriba, forma liviana. Y le voy a dejar abierto.
So basically, how it looks right now, this is what it would look like, other than the finishes, the siding, and the roof.
Yeah.
Can someone please turn off there? It's just not gonna work. I'll talk as loud as possible. I'm pretty good at that. Correct me if I'm wrong, Mark, but it doesn't matter if it's a gazebo or a pavilion. Regardless, it's an accessory structure under the zoning ordinance. Thank you.
Mr. Burnell?
Few questions. Was there a report from building safety? Is the structure, even though they did not pull a permit, was it constructed to code?
It will be. They are going to have to go through a process that's been it's been deemed that it's not like unsafe at its current point, that it's going to fall down. But that craftsmanship will be reviewed as part of the building process, and that will be upcoming based on tonight's vote.
'Cause normally when they get that far, since they haven't seen foundations, they haven't seen just all of that stuff, are they going to have to remove anything for them to look at it? Or, just if the rafters and all that, the correct spacings and all that stuff? You don't have a report?
I do not have a report, and really, the building department, while they've been out there, has not done a comprehensive until zoning is signed off on it.
Regarding the if your staff knows regarding the enclosed portion of it, it's enclosed for what purpose, storage, or is this gonna be a garage, or?
No, so this is, can we ask the
Sure,
applicant that?
okay.
Te podemos preguntar, eso que están diciendo que es introducir y las razones por lo que lo hizo.
O sea que yo lo quiero hacer para mi hija, que está discapacitada, para sacarla afuera, para que tenga espacio.
Es su
Es,
hija
es
ella.
mi hija.
He started building this to help his, he's got a daughter with special needs. And so they have to, la tienen que cargar y
Sí.
todo. Y está en silla de ruedas.
Sí.
She's on a wheelchair and there's not much for her to do. So they decided to do this to be able to bring her out and keep her in a safe area on her wheelchair because they have to carry her in and out and everywhere where they take her to. So they had built this to have some activities for her to do outside of the home, in the yard, in a safe yard.
I guess I'd add to the applicant direct then, if you don't mind. The enclosed area, is that gonna be a living space or just a play area?
¿Va a ser donde va a vivir alguien o va a
No.
ser para jugar la niña o para
No.
qué es la parte que está cerrada?
Ese lo quería yo hacer para como un tipo de store, ¿no? Para guardar cosas.
Para las cosas
Ujú.
de afuera.
No de afuera, para tenerlo dentro, porque ya me han robado muchas cosas de allá afuera.
He enclosed this area to be able to store everything that he's not allowed to have outside in the open. And any special equipment that he might need for her, he can store everything that's needed in the enclosed area.
Okay. Thank you. Back to staff. By any chance regarding the site plan, was it reviewed for any utility easements along the back or the sides or anything like that regarding the setbacks and stuff?
I believe, so, I believe it's reviewed as part of that, but we will double check and, but I don't believe there's utility easements in that, in this area. As you can see on the image there, a lot of those utilities are on the left, off the property, so. Yep.
But to follow up on Member Bueno's point, that would be a part of that subsequent
Yep. building
activity
permit.
that they will have to go through, to get their final approvals.
And this hasn't gone through a formal site plan process, so normally, but we do share these variance requests with them, and I'm not aware of there any utilities in this area. That would have been flagged, particularly with engineering, when we shared it with them.
And then last question, I think, of the square footage, had a hard time determining how you got the square footage, but is the carport part of this?
The carport is not the carport that's attached to the house, that has totally different regulations, so that's not part of the attached structure. And the number that was given is a little larger than what's in the public hearing, and we're only looking at the foundation, not necessarily the roof, and I believe the roof was provided for the dimensions of the structure you're seeing on the screen.
Okay, because the structure's roughly 900 square feet? Or
874, but I believe I think it's 920 when you do the calculations.
and the lot size is 4,000 roughly?
That is correct.
So-
Just a little larger.
And the 15% of that? Don't you take the leaser amount for the variance part?
Para la variación.
If you can give me a moment to look that up.
Okay.
Thank you.
Because it's about the same size of the house, but,
Yeah. Um, 40 by 100. I'm not sure where the number's coming from.
Sorry, could you repeat your question for me, for my clarity?
I didn't know how the 872 square feet that we're going to vote on for the variance for the request. I thought there was 3 standards. One, the accessory building is 15% of the lot is one of the restrictions. The lot's small. And then it had to do with the house, size, and then you have the structure itself. So, at least from the plans, this is the slab is 20 by 46. At least the plan submitted. That's why I would have difficulty determining how, to consider the variance of exactly how it was determined.
Thank you.
And Commissioner Bueno, I just want to be clear about this. For an accessory structure, it cannot be larger than the foundation of the house. Staff's opinion on this is that it's not larger than the foundation of the principal structure. And it can't be larger than,
15% of the property, area of the property.
okay.
That's what he's asking about. So if you get 15% of the property, my calculation is 600 square feet.
I don't know, are we, is that a confirmed regulation?
I don't know.
Yeah. And I'm looking. Double check that.
Here, let me grab my book. I'll be right back.
It used to be there, I'm not sure if it changed.
I figured out my mic. I was stupid pressing the wrong button. But it's section 4.101 of the zoning ordinance, correct?
That's where I'm looking at.
Okay. I have it pulled up and I don't see that. The only thing it says is the maximum number of accessory structures located on any residentially zoned lot shall not exceed 2 structures, and the allowable square footage outlined in each zoning district. So it would be based on the total maximum in the R1 zoning district, I believe.
We have another variance request this evening, and I know we were working with some of the same regulations. The aggregate area of the accessory buildings on the lot, shall not exceed 15% of the total area, the floor area of the first floor of the principal dwelling, or 800 square feet, whichever is leased. So I think, Commissioner Bueno, I think you're correct in that 15% is 600, but that is still a variance request this evening. I would ask Ms. McIntyre, even if the requirement is 6, like the way that this is worded, could they still move forward with the variance request this evening? Because it's really the same code that the applicant's seeking the variance on. I think the only error was that I think staff's assessment is 800 square feet, where in this case it's actually a little smaller.
I apologize, I'm reading the code section.
Yeah.
I found it. It's Article 2, Section 3.
04, yeah.
And the language specifically states, just so everyone's on the same page, the aggregate area of accessory buildings on any lot shall not exceed 15% of the total lot area, the first floor area of the first floor of the principal dwelling, or 800 square feet, whichever is leased.
Yep.
So it can't be bigger than 800. So it's bigger than 800.
So to be clear, the variance would be, because "or" is the key word there, so 800, so we would be looking at the variance from whichever is larger, the 800 square feet, or whatever the principal residence is. Do we know the square footage of?
I don't know exactly, but I can confirm just on being out there that it's larger than 800 square feet, so.
Okay.
But the variance request is still the same with this, regardless of the principal structure size. It's to allow the structure of this size, and it's larger than the 800 and larger than the 600, actually, that would be the maximum.
With the 15?
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Chair Art McCullen, any questions? No. Bert?
So the purpose of this structure is to allow your daughter to have outside play space in her wheelchair, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And as she continues to grow, it's going to be more difficult to carry her out there and give her space on her own.
Y darle espacio a ella.
Sí, porque también quería pedir que si me dejaban hacer las escaleras para sacarla con la carriola.
Escaleras hasta
Es
allá.
como, no, es como enfrente de mi casa, un portecito para sacarla para.
Yes, and he also, once this is approved, he's saying his other request would be for the future is if he can do some steps on the front of the house to, en la parte de frente de la
Sí.
casa, unas escaleras,
Para sacar la carriola, porque
so that he's able to push her out to the front also as well.
Okay, and I just wanted to confirm the
Quería
use. Thank you.
confirmar. Gracias.
Gracias.
Mr. Anderson?
Yes, I am, I just want to say that, I know you want to build steps, and I know you built this, and I've seen some people that they haven't pulled the permit, and they had to remove their driveway. They had to tear down part of the building. So my message to you is steps or anything you need to do extra, get a permit from down here to see what you can do and get a permit anyway, for just about anything, so you won't be in trouble. Because sometimes if you can go too far, they can make you tear it down. So it's basically always good to get a permit for anything you do. When in doubt, go down there and see these guys. That's all I have to say to you.
y pues que me disculpen por lo que hice.
Yes, sir. He said he agrees. It was his first time doing something like this, so he wasn't aware of everything that he needed to obtain. But this is a learning experience, and he would not do anything else without firsthand obtaining counsel and permits to do so.
Okay, thank you.
Gracias.
Okay, I have no questions.
Done the public hearing yet?
No.
Perfect.
you.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, I would like to open public hearing. Anyone here? Seeing none, close public hearing. All right, I move to the board for a vote.
I'll make the motion. I move to approve the dimensional use variance for the accessory structure of 870 square feet at 133 Chamberlain Street, based on the, well, I guess not really, but based on the findings of fact in the staff report.
And if I may ask, I believe it's 874, if you'd be willing to amend your motion.
Oh, what did I say, 47?
870, yeah.
Oh, 874, sorry.
Yeah, thank
Okay.
you.
I moved, oh, restate? Or, okay, sorry, 874.
Second.
Roll call, please.
All right, Commissioner Anderson,
Yeah.
Vice Chair Kirkendall,
Yes.
Commissioner Burke,
Yes.
Commissioner Harris Ford,
No.
Commissioner Bueno, Commissioner McClellan.
Yes. Yes.
All right, 4-2.
Motion passes.
Okay, can I have a motion for the side yard setback? Am I correct?
Yep.
I'll make that motion. I move to approve the dimensional use variance for an accessory structure located 2 feet from the side property line at 133 Chamberlain Street, based on the following findings of fact in the staff report.
I say support to me.
Yep.
For the setback, yeah, that's fine.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Harris Ford,
Yes.
Commissioner Bueno,
Yes.
Commissioner McClellan,
Yes.
Commissioner Burke,
Yes.
Commissioner Anderson,
Yes.
Vice Chair Kirkendall.
Yes.
All right, passes 6-0.
Who was the second on that motion, if I may ask?
Harris Ford.
Harris Ford, thank you. Okay.
All right, thank you.
I'll get it.
Thank you.
What's next? I hate front to back. Oh, I hate front to back. Oh, my God, I hate it. Come on. Is the next one 256 Cottage? 256 Cottage, the next one? Okay, man. Okay, thanks. Next case, please.
So I'm going to get this started. Corey Christensen will probably finish this presentation. But this is variance 23-016. The applicant is Jessica Espinoza at 256 Cottage. The variance request is to build a 1,225 square foot accessory structure. It's really a garage that's in the rear yard and also to be used for vehicle storage and fitness. Background information, if approved, the accessory structure would be 425 square feet larger than what is permitted because the principal building is 800 square feet. So I just wanted to identify the difference. The applicant has not provided architectural details such as facade material or building height for their proposal, but they have provided a model rendering of what they would like to do.
All right, this gives you an idea of where the site is located. To the right, we have an aerial of the property. You can see that the parcel is a double parcel. It looks like at some point in the past, these used to be two separate parcels that were then combined. The applicant is looking to place their structure in the rear. And then this gives you an idea of the zoning. It's entirely within an R1 district. Every property nearby is R1. It's your standard single-family residential district. This gives you an idea of what it looks like from the street. Here you can kind of see it's a little difficult to see back there where the proposed structure would go. So relevant information in the code. Accessory buildings or structures are considered anything constructed or erected, the use of which requires permanent location on the ground or attachment to something having permanent location on the ground, and that is intended to be used in a manner that is clearly incidental to, customarily found in connection with, subordinate to, and located on the same lot or parcel as a principal use. And then the relevant standard, which you are very familiar with by now, it's one of the most common you see, is section 2.304 F2. The aggregate area of accessory buildings on any lot shall not exceed 15% of the total area, the floor area of the first floor of the principal dwelling, or 800 square feet, or whichever is least. These are the standards. You've seen them before, so I'm not going to read through them, but I'm going to read through our analysis of them. So in terms of our analysis, we found that the ordinance allows a property owner to construct an accessory structure at 800 square feet. It is clear that the applicant can still store their vehicles in a garage that meets that size. It is unclear how approval of this variance will do substantial justice to the applicant or neighboring property owners, as it would permit this property owner a accessory structure significantly larger than what is allowed by the neighbors. For that reason, we do not feel it is a substantial justice to the neighbors. There does not appear to be anything unique about the property justifying the need for an accessory structure of this size. And the request for a structure larger than what is permitted appears to be based on the applicant's desire rather than any hardship particular to this property. With that, we do not make recommendations. If you feel that it meets the standards of approval, then you can approve. If you feel it does not meet the standards of approval, then you can consider denial. And then here I have a sample motion for you. Unlike the previous cases we heard tonight, only one motion is necessary. There's just seeking a permission to build larger than the 800 square feet maximum. And that is it in terms of my presentation. Are there any questions for me?
No questions at the moment. If the applicant is here, could you please step to the podium and give us your name and your address, please?
Jessica Espinosa, 256 Cottage Street.
Is there anything you would like to add, Ms. Espinoza?
I mean, the home looks that's like, I have my driveway made now, so it looks different from there. And then I have like my kid structure stuff there. But I mean, I just asked for, I know it's bigger than what normally should be. But especially with this flood that just happened a couple weeks ago, my basement, like everything I had storage there, it was like it went downhill. Like I had to throw a lot of stuff away. But there was a picture I submitted with the application that I want to be able to have like storage room. So I don't know if that's, not sure what else to say.
And Vice Chair, if I could just add,
Yes.
there is a like sketch plan of just where this is being located. And this is the principal building right here, but this garage structure would be down in this corner right here. I just wanted to state that for the record. Unfortunately, we don't have a slide this evening, but it is in your packet after their application, so.
I guess I just wanted to add, we didn't decide to do it, because that cement plot that was there, it was originally there since we bought it. So I'm assuming the previous owners wanted to build a garage there. But I just don't see how like having it in the middle of the whole lot would be good. And then that part of the home, that part of the lot is on a hill. And the one next to it where I'm hoping to do the garage is a flat surface. So I just thought I made it more ideal to have it on a flat surface instead of thinking there might be like plumbing or something on the actual house side. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I would like to open public comment. Seeing none, close public comment. Okay, I will turn to the board. Mr. Anderson?
You know, I know what you want to do, and I know what you want to build, but here's the thing. We can allow you to build on what's, you know, like Mr. Brado said, about the schematic of that. But when you go building something larger than what's in the plan, then we also have to consider your neighbors. And in the Cottage Street area, if you was on the north end of Pontiac and you had all that land behind you, we could afford you to build a place like that. But in a city like Cottage Street, where houses are close together, stuff like that, a big, large structure would be an eyesore to them, but it would block some of their, what they could see. So what I'm saying is that with this, maybe you could work something out with the what we was just went over with Mr. Brano, the right size to get in there. Go ahead.
So I guess on the other reason why we wanted it on that side, because a backdoor neighbor from us that's in that lot has a large dogs, like they breed them or something. So they go to my lot a lot. I have 3 kids. So it has happened a lot that they go and they chase my kids into the house. So I think, like, my husband wants to, we already got the fence up for half of it, but we made it out of black just so the dogs won't be able to eat through it, because they've done that before. And so because having that, it just like closes off that whole back neighbor. And I had talked to them before, but I mean, they love their dogs. So, but yeah, I just have that problem that they're always going into my yard. So if I have something there more steady instead of like a, like a metal fence, like that's not enough for those dogs. They even have, like digged under to go into my yard. So with the fence that we had built on the, like it's gonna be out of black, and I'm assuming the dogs won't go through the black or be able to chew through it like they did for the metal fence. So that's another reason.
But the city, you guys hear what you said about the dogs and stuff? Could you tell her where she can make a complaint? Because that shouldn't be happening.
Oh, I've made complaints, and they keep getting more and more dogs. We had the,
Talk to your council person in the area. I don't know who it is.
McGinnis.
Talk to McGinnis, your council person in the area, and he'll get right on it.
okay.
Okay? Don't be calling anybody. Just talk to McGinnis so you solve that problem. Because I'm afraid for your kids and stuff. But the size of the building, I don't know. It's going to have to go through the rest of the board there. But I know it's from prior practices, we let people go as big as they can, but not to obstruct their neighbors and anything. So I don't see your neighbors here, so they must be okay with it. So
I talked to most of them, and they were okay with it. I mean, they didn't have no complaints about it, so should they have came?
okay, but you see what I'm talking about. You have lots and stuff, and you have somebody to build a huge barn out the back there, and it don't even fit in the neighborhood. But what you can do is build something comparable as much as the city and the specs allow. That's what I'm saying. And go to McGinnis, and get that straightened out with the dogs and everything before something get hurt. And Mike, tell him Mr. Anderson sent you and to straighten it out. Okay?
What is that person I need to speak to?
Mike McGinnis. He's the president of the council. So he don't talk to anybody else because he's the president. And you'll get something done with that, okay?
Okay, I'll reach out.
All right, thank you, Ms. Anderson. Ms. Burke?
Does staff happen to know what's the, just out of curiosity, the 15%, since this is a double lot? I know it's the or, but just, do we have an idea?
I would have to calculate it.
Yeah, this lot is, I believe, and I may say it in here, I think it's.
I didn't see it.
By 120, so it's 9,600. I mean, it definitely would be.
Okay. Okay.
1440.
Okay.
No,
Okay, thank you. That was my only question.
Mr. McCullen?
That was it. If the double lot allows for that size, that's my only consideration, because the first thing you look at is 1225. Like, good Lord, that's pretty big. But in the context of it being a two-lot combined lot, and then we do the calculation, then yeah.
I think, if I may, the other element that we wanted to bring up is that approval of this variance would allow for an accessory structure that exceeds the footprint of the primary structure.
You know, and that, yeah, that's a, I don't like that, because now you have an accessory structure that's larger than your house. And how is it an accessory at that point? It's your house. I mean, that's another consideration.
Mr. Burnham?
Just kind of piggybacking on Mr. Anderson's comments that even though it's a double lot, the Cottage Street area, they're all small lots. They're only like 40 or 45 feet wide typically across them. And it's still in excessive size. And we're not even talking about the height yet, because for a 35 by 35, how tall it's going to be. But it's a large structure. You could still build up, like a 24 by 32 or something like that. 800 square feet is a large structure. I don't know if you're just finding a particular kit that's 35 by 35, but that's a large size structure for storage and for your cars and stuff like that, for that area. Okay, thank you.
Ms. Ford?
I agree with Member Anderson and Mr. Bueno, that if something that is comparable, that's allowed in the area, I think that would be sufficient than to put something that's huge. And I don't see any of the neighbors, you said they all agree, but, that would be a large structure in that area and on Cottage, so.
Mr. Anderson? Mike?
Now, how can we help this young lady is that give her the amount of space she can use to build a structure. How many footage she can build on. Is that possible?
I'm sorry, could you repeat the question?
Okay. Give her the amount of area and footage that she can build on. So she'll have a good idea what she can come back with and what she can build. Okay, we're not saying no, but you might have the smaller size, but you'll get your building there, okay? But it might not be that huge, it just maybe a couple of feet difference, but at least you'll have it.
I mean, if it helped, what were the measurements that you had put on there?
So your proposal is 35 by 35.
So-
And, something that would be 30 by 25 would meet, it was 750 square feet. That would meet the standards, so.
So from, I guess technically, I don't know if it makes it better or worse, but technically it would be like 30 by 30, because I wanted like a sidewalk on the edge. So it would go in, not so much 35 by 35. It would have, because it would get the edge of here, but on the side and then the front, it would have like a sidewalk kind of thing. Walkway.
If I can ask, if you were to get either approved or not approved, but still move forward, who would you be working with to design the building plans for this? And the reason I'm asking that question is, we absolutely can work with you with different sizes within the code that's here. But if you're looking for it's helpful to actually know what size is there. If 30 by 30 is still 900 square feet, that's still more than the 800 that's permitted. But if you had time and wanted to evaluate, the ZBA could table this if you're able to come back with some plans and evaluate maybe at a lesser variance if one was needed at all.
I think that'll work. Yes.
I-
That'll work.
I can do that. And then work-wise, I have family that it's not like my brother, my dad, they all do some type of construction. So it's not like I'm doing it on my own because that is a lot. But with family, I have that support system for that.
Get your permits.
Yes,
Right.
no,
Exactly,
no, I did ask.
Exactly.
Okay, Mark, so how about, I can't make the motion.
I would like to make a motion that we table this, and let the young lady work with staff to find out what, size would be suitable for that, and to work things out with her, and then bring it back after then.
Support.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Anderson,
Yeah.
Commissioner Bueno,
Yes.
Vice Chair Kirkendall,
Yes.
Commissioner McClellan,
Yes.
Commissioner Burke,
Yes.
Commissioner Harris Ford.
Yes.
All right, passes 6-0.
Okay. Okay, Mark, can y'all just make sure she have the proper information, what she needs?
Absolutely. So I know you've been working with Justin, but we will contact you tomorrow and kind of see how we can get from tonight to where we need to go. And we look forward to meeting with you and working with you. So the next meeting is on October 16th. So if we're able to get, we'll provide a deadline tomorrow, but as long as we're able to get plans and ahead of time, or if something weird happens and you want the same proposal to go forward, then we, that could be heard next month. So,
But that wouldn't pass, though.
yeah.
Okay, so, and that's helpful to have my neighbors come and,
So we would
Support.
likely not have another public hearing. If you had neighbors that wanted to come, I think it'd be helpful. But I think the most important thing is maybe getting a little, you have a hand-drawn plan with what you submitted, but maybe actually getting something with a little bit more detail about what's being proposed and seeing with the space constraints and stuff like that, what are the actual dimensions of the structure? And so we can talk about that tomorrow. Yep.
Okay,
Don't
all
forget
right,
the
have a good night.
permits.
thank you.
You're welcome. Next case, please.
All right, so our next case, today we are hearing a use variance. The applicant is Anil Kumar and Srini Manam. The address is 29 South Telegraph. The request is to allow for indoor recreation.
We have skipped one on the agenda.
Wait, what happened to?
Oh my gosh,
car
I'm
wash.
sorry.
Yeah, I was gonna say, well,
We all tabbed, but I'm like, wait.
I thought it was the car wash.
What is it? I don't know.
It's the car wash.
Where's the car wash at? Woodward. Car-
The church,
Huh?
St. Vincent's.
Right by the Rapid. Oh, yeah, I'll go that car wash there. Me too. Yeah. Now, what do they want to do here?
Rebuilding.
All right, sorry about that. Regrouping. The applicant is High Tide Auto Spa LLC. The address is 45895 Woodward Avenue. Today, we're getting a request for 4 variances from the architectural requirements for facades in this location. The property is located along Woodward Avenue, and it's required to meet certain facade requirements. So the first request is to allow for the use of EIFS as a principal facade material. The ordinance does not allow it in excess of 40% as a primary material or 10% as an accessory material. The applicant is requesting permission to use EIFS in excess of these requirements. Request number 2 is to waive the requirement for base, body, and cap. These are architectural features that have to be on any kind of facade. The applicant is requesting permission to waive this. The third request is to waive the minimum requirement for 40% transparency on front facades. This is a requirement that says all first floor commercial must have 40% of the facade dedicated to window or some sort of transparency. Request number 4 is a request to waive the screening requirements for mechanical and utility equipment. Utility or mechanical equipment placed on the roof must be shielded in some manner, or it should be placed in the rear of the property. So the applicant is requesting 4 dimensional variances to allow the use of the existing facade at 45895 Woodward Avenue without coming into compliance with the architectural requirements. The subject site is located on the west side of Woodward Avenue, north of South Boulevard and south of downtown. It's an existing car wash. The applicant proposes to renovate the existing structure, which has operated historically as a car wash. These variances accompany an administrative site plan that is reviewed by city staff. No further boards, commissions, or city council will look at this proposal. So in other words, staff can handle the approval of the site plan itself. However, when staff identified these nonconformities with the zoning ordinance, that's when we reached out to the applicant and informed them they would need to get variances or would need to alter their plan in order to meet the architectural requirements. This gives you an idea of the location. Again, it's along Woodward, just north of Rapid Street. It's in the C3 district, and as you can see, most of Woodward Avenue is set aside for C3. It's for higher intensity commercial uses along commercial highway corridors. This on the left gives you an idea of the existing condition. This was street view, and I believe it was taken this year in April. So it's a fairly good depiction of what the site looks like. And you can see the existing facade. On the right, you can see it's kind of cropped a little bit, but that's what they're proposing. So they're proposing to alter the design, improve it in many ways, but they are not coming into compliance with these 4 requirements. This gives you an idea of the site plan. Do you have the... So most of the work that they're doing is not related to the request tonight. They're reconfiguring a lot of the parking area. This is the structure here. And the standards we're talking about only pertain to facades facing the street. So we're only talking about this wall right here. So I'm not going to read through this. It's a lot of text, but this is the actual language from the ordinance that they're seeking a variance from. The first is section 2.4051, which sets aside building materials, primary building materials. You can see it identifies there what we mean by primary materials. EFIS is not allowed to exceed 40% of the building. As you can see under accent building materials, EFIS is considered an accent building material, and it's not allowed to exceed a certain amount. The base, middle, and cap. So for bases, a horizontal molding or cornice shall be provided at the roofline for a 1-story building. The middle area of the building includes upper stories and is visually defined by the molding or cornice that defines the base of the building and a cornice or eaves line that defines the cap of the building. And the cap, when relevant here to flat roofs, shall be enclosed by parapets, a minimum of 30 inches high or higher if required to conceal mechanical equipment from view. Section 2.4053, building transparency, minimum first floor transparency. The minimum required transparency is 40% for non-residential first floor structures. The reason for this is eyes on the street. It's the idea that people are less likely to engage in antisocial behavior if they think they can be seen. And then section 5, mechanical equipment. Mechanical and utility equipment such as gas or electrical meters, telephone boxes, utility cables, HVAC equipment, and other similar utility devices, whether roof-mounted or not, shall be screened from view from a point 8 feet above grade level at the center line of any abutting road. This gives you an idea of the proposed facade. As you can see, it is an improvement over what is there existing. They're maintaining this garage door here, which I believe will be transparent, so that counts towards their transparency, but I believe it only comes out to about 20% of the facade. This is where the mechanical equipment can be seen. And then as you can see, there's no base, middle, or cap architectural details. Yep. These are the standards that must be met in order to approve a variance. I won't read through them. You're familiar with them at this point. And on to our analysis. For standard 1, there is no reason to believe strict compliance with the letter of the zoning ordinance would prohibit the applicant from utilizing the property for a permitted purpose or impose any unnecessary burdens. The applicant is already proposing to alter the facade significantly and could propose the building materials and elements necessary for compliance with the zoning code. Having said that, the transparency area requirement may be difficult for the applicant to achieve due to the nature of the building and the lack of need for front-facing windows on a car wash. There does not appear to be any attempt to provide more transparency, however, and the applicant is requesting full relief from this standard. Standard 2, approval of these variance requests would not do substantial justice to the applicant or to other property owners in the district. It is unclear from the applicant's application what hardship they are experiencing that requires justice. The applicant is proposing to alter the design of the facade and should be able to meet the minimum requirements of the ordinance. In addition, the applicant does not appear to be making any changes to their plan that would at least reduce the size of the variance being requested. Standard 3, there does not appear to be anything unique about the property justifying the need for an increased fence. Or these variances. The justification appears to be tied to the applicant's chosen design of the facade rather than the characteristics of the parcel itself. Standard 4, the problem that necessitates a variance appears to be self-created. The applicant has selected a design for their car wash that is out of compliance with the requirements of the zoning ordinance. This was not a situation imposed upon them by anyone else. And standard 5, it is unclear how approval of this variance will observe the spirit of the zoning ordinance, enhance public safety, or improve the public welfare. The architectural standards that have been applied to this property were established to elevate the quality of design in the city and enhance the aesthetic experience. This is especially true along major commercial corridors such as Woodward Avenue. It is along these corridors that high-quality design is most beneficial. Standard 6, section 6.401B seeks to protect the surrounding vicinity from any detrimental effects on property values, public health, and welfare. Approval of this variance would not appear to place neighboring properties at risk of losing adequate supply of light, air, increased traffic congestion, or increased risk of fire. Granting of these variances may deny neighboring properties enhanced property values that comes from locating on attractive and viable commercial corridors. But again, nothing about their design is actually posing a risk to the neighbors. Standard 7, approval of this variance would appear to conflict with the master plan's goals to strengthen the city's sense of place and improve existing neighborhoods through attention to aesthetics. Conversely, approval of this variance would not appear to present a direct hazard to the community. The rest of the standards in section 6.303 do not appear to be applicable. With that, our recommendation, again, it's up to this board. If you feel that the applicant has met the standards, then you can approve. If you do not feel that they have met the standards, you can deny, and we should be treating each of the 4 requests separately. So again, just to go over them, the first is request permission to use EFIS as the principal material, waive the requirements for base body and cap, waive the transparency minimum, and waive the screening requirements for mechanical equipment. Those are the 4 requests. And then here's my sample motions. With that, are there any questions for me?
And actually, Corey, if I can, thank you for that presentation, and I know you've been working hard with the applicants on this site plan. I just wanted to kind of summarize some of the things here to help ZBA. I know you guys don't do site plan approvals all the time, but stuff like base, middle, and cap, or base body cap, how it's sometimes known, you see in residential and commercial properties. That might be you get a 3 or 4 foot brick or stone base of a building, and then you get the main body of the building, whether it be wood or vinyl or clad. EFIS is something that is permitted in the city, obviously, as Corey said, with limited applications. This is a large application. The cap is generally something that ties in the architecture a little bit, but what's interesting to note is that there is the front of this facade along Woodward, there's really 2 things. There is the garage for people exiting the car wash, and then they're adding this architectural feature on the right, as you can see here. So, and they're losing their nonconformities. They're modifying this facade, which is why these variance requests are coming back to you tonight. But that's really what the ZBA is considering. The last thing I would say, I have worked with many commercial businesses of doing something to screen the mechanicals, putting a parapet, put a screening wall, something up there to block from Woodward. The applicant has requested a variance with you this evening, but if you have any further architectural questions, please let us know. And the applicant is here if you have any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, staff, for those facts and findings. If the applicant is here, could you please step to the podium? And state your name and address, please.
Hi, good evening. My name is Alan Jacob from Car Wash Pro Designers Consultant, 6400 Northwest Highway, Chicago, Illinois, 60631. Introduce yourself.
Nick Spallone, Car Wash Pro Designer, same address.
So I wanted to go in reverse order for these four variances. The first one, which is number 4, the mechanical equipment service area. The staff report indicates the applicant is proposing to allow roof-mounted equipment to be visible. That we would absolutely screen. However, staff would request, or this board would request, or put a parapet on it. We're not adding any new equipment to the roof. Whatever is existing there, we would certainly block it from any visibility from the actual street. Number 3, building transparency. As staff did say, that there is a garage door at the front there. And we added that cap there to kind of beautify the building a little bit more, make it a little more unique, and make it look a little more modern. We do have that transparency with the garage door. However, adding any more transparency to that, I don't think would do any justice to the building design itself or provide any policy considerations. I think one of the reasons why the city wanted more transparency toward front-facing buildings is to reduce crime. Because if you could see through a building, there's less likely for people to go inside and commit crimes at night or do something like that. With a car wash, we don't store anything in there that would be that would keep, have an opportunist criminal break in and try to steal foam brushes or the belt from inside the car wash, because that would be impossible to do.
Right.
Additionally, and to add to that, beyond the blue area is the equipment room. And, we aren't doing any real modifications to the inside of the building. And although the outside will definitely look enhanced, the inside, specifically the equipment room, looks to 60 years old. And the client is not improving upon that. We could easily add windows, but we're trying to make the facade from the street point look better, not make it look worse. So adding any additional windows, even if we had gone up where the sign area was, would only make additional view to whatever equipment was already on the roof.
Right.
But if we were to add a window where the blue area is, you would see a very old equipment room that looks like, there might be dinosaurs that are running some of this stuff.
The second request, which is number 3, because I'm going in reverse, base cap and middle standards. As you can see from the facade, we try to comply as much as we could with that. The way the building is now, it has no base, cap, or middle. Here you could see kind of a black top, kind of like a cap, and then there's the base itself. There's the middle itself, and there's no real base, because I think it would kind of change the facade of the building, and it could change the whole structure of the exit of that car wash.
Moreover, the current building is fully EFIS from ground to roof. There is no base, there is no middle, there is no cap. What we wanted to, and just to kind of back up a little about the parents, it took a lot of convincing the clients to spend more money on the facade. And what we tried to explain to them was, with all the money that they're spending to improve the lot, as far as the free vacuums and putting the pay stations and making more automated and making it look newer, is almost like taking a tuxedo and wearing really old gym shoes. So it was a lot of trying to convince them to add features to the building, including the steel features. If you notice, there's some awnings that are sticking off of the building and kind of break up the elevation a little bit. It was difficult to get them to do that because they had already run way over their budget. So we tried to limit the amount of adjustments to the physical building to try to maintain some form of a budget here, but we did as much as we could with the budget that they allowed to kind of make it look like something had been built new without really putting something new up.
And then finally, for the EFIS, I know staff mentioned that we are well above what's allowed for accent material, but currently the building is 100% EFIS. We're not going to have 100% EFIS, so we're trying to bring it more into compliance, but that's why we're asking for that variance as well. So those are the 4. And Just to mention in some of the comments that were made, I think one of the important things for the master plan of 2012 is beautification. And I think what we're trying to do here is modernize this building and make it look a lot better than it currently looks. And I'm allowed to say that because the applicants agree with us. And so we're trying to keep in line with that master plan as well. So if these 4 variances are granted, the clients are willing to immediately begin work on this and make it look a lot better for that commercial corridor along Woodward.
And one last point, this is the first of me hearing of the non-screening of the roof equipment. I can easily convince the clients to put screening around whatever equipment would be seen from the street. So if that did not pass for whatever reason, we would fully be okay with that, and we would screen whatever you would see from the road. And we do agree that the screening would improve the look of the building. It's very cheap to do that.
We have
Okay.
no other comments.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Let's open public comment. Seeing none, we close public comment and I turn to the board. Start with Ms. Ford.
I have no questions or comments.
Mr. Bruno?
The only concern I had was on the only question I had was on the equipment screen, and the applicant's saying that they're going to screen it, so do we have to address it, or do we still address it since it's on?
I mean, it's a variance request you have, so I would recommend that the ZBA consider, a decision on that this evening, but they're offering an alternative,
We are okay with screening.
And,
Yeah.
and if I may, if it is approved, it could be approved with the condition that it be screened.
Yeah.
Okay, so all my questions related to the screen, so, okay. That's all, thank you.
Mr. McClellan?
No additional questions.
Ms. Burke?
Just out of curiosity, was there any consideration to have the base to maybe, how you've got the top section and the bottom section that are smaller, to scooch up a little bit and do something along the bottom to give the appearance of a base?
So there were 2 options. One was that so what we're trying to do is limit the amount of, currently the building's made out of CMU. And the previous builder, whoever, whether it had been remodeled or whatever point, it looks like it might have been over the period of time it was there, on portions of the building, they applied the ephes material directly to the CMU instead of putting a foam base on it. So we had an option to go in and possibly convert that and maybe make a bump out and do something a little bit different. And because of their application, it kind of hindered us from doing it. We'd have to tear pretty much everything off of the brick, redo everything. It was a large undertaking for that. So what we did is we tried to add in those elements with the steel awnings to kind of break up the elevator. You're only seeing this side in the front, but along the side also has these metal awning elements to kind of break up the walls. And what we're also doing is we're removing that Mansard roof from the original plan and making the wall straight and more clean to make it more squared off.
Okay, so then just to consideration, but given previous renovations to the building, make my question economically not really all
We
that
even
feasible.
thought of brick, but then the architect said we'd have to pour a different type of foundation in to hold the masonry up.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Anderson? All right, I have no questions, neither, so I'll move to the board for a motion.
I believe we have to go one by one, right?
That is correct, yes.
Yeah.
My apologies.
To be fair to the applicant, they did pay extra for each of these extra variances, so.
Okay.
I couldn't find mine, I promise you.
And feel free to modify my language. You don't have to list out every standard. You can just say, based on the findings of fact in the report.
I'll move to approve the first request if I can find it.
I'm telling you, we,
Talking about Updike. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, well,
okay.
you
they're
can
right
look up
there.
here.
Okay, I was about to. Okay. I move to approve the requested variance number 1 from section 2.405B1B to allow for ephes as a primary and accent material at 45895 Woodward based on the following findings of staff.
If you could just say, based on the findings of fact in the staff report.
What you just said. Yes, I will take that as my motion.
Let me get up. You ready?
I'm waiting.
Is there a second?
Okay.
Roll call, please.
All right, Commissioner Harris Ford,
Yes.
Commissioner Burke,
Yes.
Commissioner McClellan,
Yes.
Vice Chair Kirkendall,
Yes.
Commissioner Bueno,
Yes.
Commissioner Anderson.
Yes.
Passes 6-0. So I have the, all the requests listed here on this page to help you craft your next motion.
Okay, so we did number 1.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
Move that in, waive the requirements for the base, body, and cap. For finding of fact staff.
Second.
Roll call, please.
All right, Commissioner Burke,
No.
Vice Chair Kirkendall,
Yes.
Commissioner Bueno,
Yes.
Commissioner Harris Ford,
Yes.
Commissioner McClellan,
Yes.
Commissioner Anderson. Motion passes 5-1.
Move to waive the minimum requirement of 40% transparency in the front facade.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Anderson,
Yes.
Commissioner Bueno,
Yes.
Commissioner, or Vice Chair Kirkendall,
Yes.
Commissioner McClellan,
Yes.
Commissioner Burke,
Yes.
Commissioner Harris Ford.
Yes.
The last one, I'll deny waiving the screening requirements for the mechanical and utility equipment.
For my clarity, was that a motion to deny or approve?
To deny waiving it, what's how, is that kind of?
To waive it?
No, not to waive it.
Okay, sorry, to deny.
To deny, yes.
Okay, just to be clear.
What is that?
The screening, they're asking for a waiver from
I
that.
thought you
If we
said they
deny
were
that, that
gonna-
means they have to put the screening out.
Was it gonna
And they
have
said they
him
would.
It's
screen
gonna
it?
screen it.
Yes, he's going to screen it.
Oh, not doing it.
Mhm.
That make sense?
Yes, I just need a second.
That'll be a no.
Second.
Okay, we got a second by Ford. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Harris Ford,
Yes.
Commissioner Anderson.
Wait a minute, this is for, to waive it?
To
So
deny-
yes, to deny.
To deny
Yes,
it.
to deny it?
Yes.
Correct.
Yes.
Get it straight.
All right, Commissioner Burke,
Yes.
Commissioner Bueno,
Yes.
Vice Chair Kirkendall,
Yes.
Commissioner McClellan.
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0. Sorry, motion is denied 6-0.
Okay. You guys are all set. Thank you. Look forward for the change.
Corey and Mark.
Oh,
Good.
Good.
Very good.
Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, bye.
All right, now the one I've been dying to do all night.
all right. Take it to facts findings.
But, see, you guys had to wait to build up the momentum, right?
Oh, all right. So our last variance request tonight, this is a use variance request to allow for small indoor recreation in a C4 district. So this is kind of an unusual situation that we discovered when this applicant came in and met with us. Our C4 district, which is one of our most intense commercial districts. So every, like C1, C2, C3 allows small indoor recreation. The industrial districts allow small indoor recreation, but for some reason C4 specifically, it's silent on. It doesn't allow for it. It allows for large indoor recreation, so in excess of 30,000 square feet, but there just appears to be a gap. So that is why we are here tonight. The applicant would like to do small indoor recreation in the C4 district at 29 South Telegraph. The proposed facilities would be adapted into some of the following indoor activities: cricket and baseball lanes, soccer clubs, and pickleball. The applicant is making this request because there is no similar indoor facilities within a 5 to 10 mile radius. The site has ample tenant space and ample parking as part of the shopping plaza. It's part of a large strip mall. And the zoning ordinance does not permit small indoor recreation, as I already outlined, although it allows large indoor recreation greater than 30,000 square feet. This gives you an idea of, it's kind of zoomed in, so you can't see the entire site, but it's part of this large strip mall development. And then this is the tenant space they're interested in. It's currently vacant. This gives you more of a zoomed out look. You can see it's at the intersection, I believe, Telegraph and Huron. And then it's right there in the center there.
Okay.
So here are the standards for approval for use variances. Again, you're familiar with them, so I won't read through them. But some of our analysis, if limited to the uses already permitted in the C4 district, the applicant would appear to be able to generate a profit. The plight is due to the fact that the parcel in question is perfectly suited for a use of this type, but the property is zoned for large indoor recreation and not small indoor recreation. The applicant would only be permitted to open a recreation facility if it were larger than 30,000 square feet. The use will allow several tenant spaces to be filled out, but there should be no negative offsite impacts. The use is well suited to a commercial intersection of this size. The applicant can locate in other zoning districts such as C1, C2, C3, M1, and M2 without a variance or special exception. However, this site is zoned C4. The proposed facility is in organized fashion enclosed within the building and would only operate during the day and evening like other commercial uses. The proposed facility would not impact public safety or welfare. Uses of this type would require slightly more parking than a standard generic retail, but not by much. So they're required 1 space per 300 square feet, as opposed to a general retail would be 1 space per 500. But the parking area for this site is well suited to accommodate this parking. So with that, our standard recommendation, if you feel it meets the standards, please approve. If you feel it does not, please deny. And if you feel you need more information, you may always ask for a postponement. And then I have a sample motion that is worded correctly for you this time. Are there any questions for me? I know, I don't know.
No questions. Thank you, staff, for the facts and finding. If the applicant is here, could you please go to the podium, state your name and address?
Yep.
Good evening. Srinivasa, my name, 23409 Mystic Forest Drive, Novi, Michigan.
Good evening, everyone. This is Anil Kumar Joginpalli, 25715 Crystal Creek East, Southland, 48178.
Okay. Is there anything that you all would like to add?
Yeah, so thank you, Corey, for the presentation on the background. And we just want to highlight some of the things that we are planning within that small indoor facility. We definitely want to comply with what is permitted and what we are planning for the indoor facility. So that one, the indoor facility that we are planning, we want to make it customizable and user-friendly in a way that we can have multiple sports, which is controlled through a reservation system for the customers. It's not like a public walk-in, everyone can come in together. There will be a controlled reservation system that they can pick the activities that are predetermined in that facility. And within the facility too, the way we are planning to design is it is easy to retract any of the nets or anything, so that it is comply with whatever the activity they want to do. And from what we have seen, and yeah, those are some of the pictures we just got off from the internet just to showcase how that looks. And we feel that, I mean, as we have seen some of the aerial footage, the property, I mean, it has a good amount of parking space, and with a large volume of traffic there, we feel that it will definitely give an landmark destination for small, for organizations or kids summer camps or kid sports clubs kind of thing. And also, one notable thing is about in the nearby vicinity, there is a Murphy Cricket Stadium. We have spoken to multiple people, as we are also part of some of the cricket tournaments. And we feel that, I mean, the people, I mean, irrespective of what the weather condition is, right, not only in the winters, but all year around, they can reserve it, and they can have their indoor sports or something for even like enhancing their skills. So those are some of the things, and definitely apart from that, we will have a small storefront in that facility where we can rent out the equipment. I mean, if someone doesn't have the equipment to play there, we are going to provide that, and then that they can use the facility in order to play any of those cricket lanes or soccer clubs or anything extra. Yeah, those are a few of the things that I want to highlight, and definitely open to take any questions. And I'll have Mr. Srini to provide from his perspective, from the ownership of the Tilhuran Plaza.
Thank you, Anil. Thank you, Anil. Yeah, I'm Srini. I represent the landlord of the Tilhuran Commercial LLC. So, yeah, we have about 9,000 square feet vacant space. And as you can see, we have plenty of parking space. With this business, definitely it's going to add value to other businesses in the plaza. We have other about 11 or 12 businesses are in that. So it's going to bring the more traffic, more footprint into the business, into the other businesses. So it's definitely going to add value to the overall the plaza.
Okay. Thank you. I would like to open up public comment. Seeing none, I'd like to close public comment. And I will turn to my commissioners for any comments. I will start with Mr. Anderson.
What I see, it was what is that, Powerhouse Gym over there?
Yes. Yes.
And now they want these guys to have come here for a variance. I don't see nothing wrong with it, and also, I don't know why they change it back and forth. And also, I think this would be good for, we have the youth programs and stuff. So that'd be good for, if you could reach out to the mayor when it comes around again, to have some of the youth programs there, maybe teach them pickleball, teach them this or that, something like that. So it could be very useful to us.
Definitely, Commissioner.
Okay.
Ms. Burke? Oh, I'm sorry.
Neither one of you guys are Mr. Singh, right?
What's that?
Singh? No?
No.
Okay. Okay, I just asked. They know what I mean, but, you know.
Ms. Burke?
So, important question, cricket lessons?
Yeah, cricket lanes.
You'll
and
be having
cricket cells.
lessons
Yeah.
and stuff? Okay. That's the only thing I care.
Mr. McCullen?
Just a quick, this is more for staff. Since we found the quirk in the system, right? Are there plans to go back and make sure that we close that gap?
Nothing formalized, but we are taking notes whenever we find a quirk in the system, and we plan to go through and address everything.
That's a big quirk.
Okay. No, I think this will go well. I go over there quite a bit, so you may see me trying to learn pickleball. So I hear it's all the rage, right? Everybody's playing pickleball now, so you know, I think I at least go find out and learn a little bit about it.
Commissioner Bruno?
For the use variance, I think there's enough special circumstances for the site, and to ordinances itself to the granted use variance. Is there gonna be any work done on the facade, do you know of the structure?
Nope, so this is all internal. So the only outdoor work, I believe, would be a sign at some point.
Okay,
Yep.
thank you, that's all.
Ms. Ford?
My only question is that will there be a membership requirement to enter the facility?
As of now, we are going with like a reservation kind of thing. Anyone can do it, but as we see fit, definitely that is in plans where we can have like coaches or anyone who want to take a membership and have for a longer period of reservation. But we can have that so that they have weekly spots available for them. But that is something in consideration, but not like strictly based off of membership only. I mean, if it is open for public based on the reservation that we are going to provide, and if we see a lot of customers who wants to reserve the space, I mean, over a period of time, we could try to see, I mean, if membership makes sense at that point of time. But at this point, I mean, it's mostly purely a reservation basis only.
Okay, and security will be provided for the building outside and?
Yeah, so whatever we have currently that complies with the C4 and with the existing tenants, we'll have all the security measures taken care of, and we will coordinate with the city to make sure we meet all the requirements there.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I have no question or comment, so I'll move to the board for a motion.
I'll make the motion. I vote, I'm not sure quite which one. I vote to approve the applicant's request based on staff findings.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Harris Ford,
Yes.
Commissioner Burke,
Yes.
Commissioner McClellan,
Yes.
Vice Chair Kirkendall,
Yes.
Commissioner Bueno,
Yes.
Commissioner Anderson.
Huh? Yes.
Motion passes 6-0.
All right, we'll see you soon.
Yep. See ya.
Thank you. Have a good night. Thanks for your patience, too.
Don't be surprised if you see me standing up there trying to learn something.
With tonight's decision, you will be going forward in the building permit process, so I would anticipate, other than the decision letter for tonight that we will email out, the next step will be when the building department calls you, so for the occupancy. Yep. Okay.
What's the timeline, just out of curiosity? What's the timeline?
The
Your
time to be
proposed
open.
timeline, how long until you plan to be open?
The team is currently in standby for researching into the various equipment that is needed. I think pretty much it will be soon, and I don't have a timeline at this point, but we'll make it, and sooner or later.
Awesome.
Okay.
Good luck. Thank you.
Yes.
All right, is there anything else from staff?
We just have a few staff communications if we're there on the agenda.
Oh, yeah, see, what happened was this front to back is not working for me. Staff communications, please.
Then we will note that. I just have very brief updates. Justin Curry is going through his master's program at Wayne State. He's got Monday classes, so he's still active on ZBA cases. He may not be at the next couple meetings, although he thinks he might have a break for the October meeting and is excited to return and just kind of grow as a planner, presenting to you guys. I do want to appreciate, we had 5 items tonight. We, as a planning department, we had 21 items for boards and commissions. We had 1 or 2 drop off, but we have been slammed. We're still moving forward with a lot of stuff, a lot of city-initiated zoning things. So I will share with that a little more at next month's meeting, what that is. We are doing some comprehensive updates to the zoning code. Right now, Corey and I are working ourselves, are coming up with a list. Our city engineer's coming up with a list. This is not meant to transformally change our code. It's just looking to clean up issues that, we're finding on a daily, weekly basis. So we will definitely bring that forward. If there's something outstanding, I know we're trying to note it when it comes through from ZBA, but if there's something that's on the top of your brain, please send us an email. You know, even if it was before we were here, send us an email of something that you've noticed, either with a couple applications or one certain applicant that seems to be out of line. I want to thank Ms. McIntyre for coming tonight and just being part of it. Just with the different cases, we did ask a lot of research on some of the code interpretations tonight, and thank you for coming. And then the last thing is the October meeting. We do not officially have an application. There is one or two that might be out there, but we will let you know in a week or two whether to schedule that or take the night off. So
We have the return, the one that was tabled.
oh yeah, and the one that is tabled will be coming back as well. Yep. So at 256 Cottage. Yep.
Yeah.
So
And question mark, and I wish the one lady was still here, the Hispanic lady. I can't.
oh no.
No, the Anna. Yeah. But for the Hispanic community who, like Miss Esperanda, you know, who knew but don't know, is there's like what can we do, you know, as a, you know, a city or as a, you know, you guys to help? Because like I said, that was kind of she was like a fish in water. And we didn't want to tell her no, but that was a big structure, and plus on Cottage. If she would have been somewhere here on the west side, on the end, north side, but on Cottage, it's a small structure, you know, and just make sure, you know, I know you guys will do your due diligence, you know, for her to reach out to just, so she won't come back and be faced with, you know, but I think Miss, what's her name, was talking to her, so hopefully she'll be able to give her some insight. Yeah.
The city, our code enforcement team actually has 2 Spanish-speaking employees.
Okay.
We are working with a consultant as a city to get some multilingual communication through our website, through some of our forms.
Okay.
And so I think there's a lot of opportunity to move forward. As the planning manager going through the master plan, I really see making some strategic connections with the Hispanic community so they get the feedback in, but that might also be an opportunity for us to advertise, you know, what we do as a city when they need to talk to us, and also just form that bond with that community so we don't have this too much going forward. So.
Okay.
I guess to add on to that, will we be able to have in the future, I mean, obviously everything was in English, is there a way to have translation slides available to any applicants so they understand exactly what is being discussed? I know when we tried to look at forms, we didn't even have forms in Spanish in any of the departments.
So we've written a few decision letters. In this case, the homeowner is actually English speaking but could not come tonight. And she was actually the one that actually received the staff report and probably helped translate. I think that in the future we will do our best to try to incorporate that where we can within the language. So, cool.
Okay, thank you.
I think we're going to see how that goes. You know, I think definitely if staff feels that there's a controversial issue or something like that, whether it's a lot of people or having order, I mean, definitely we appreciate their availability. So,
Don't you just want to come and hang with us, though?
I love hanging out with you guys. I'm happy to join whenever you need me to. If there's ever anything controversial, I am happy to be here.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
good.
because we can get some of those.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
We've had a few.
Yeah.
We've had a few. That's true.
Yeah.
No, you'd love Deja.
and that is all my
I'll
staff
send her next
communications. Corey, anything?
Deja's much better than me.
Nope, I got nothing.
Okay, let's do an adjournment at 8:34. I can't see that far, y'all. All in favor, aye? Aye.